Hey guys, it's William with Quarantine Studio again, and this time I want to give you another little update here on our victim from the Mars Attacks piece here. And so really I've just been concentrating on the victim itself, not all the other stuff. There's just some basic colors in here, but what I have done here with the victim is I've gone ahead and added all of the red that you see in here, and I use a slightly different technique than what I used for the centerfold or consumption piece that I was showing you in one of the other videos. So this one is more of just kind of a red paint that's been thinned down quite a bit with Future floor wax, basically. This stuff is basically liquid acrylic, and so instead of using water to thin it down with, I use that stuff, and it gives me a pretty good look. This is much more opaque than the effect that I'm using for the centerfold, and that's okay because this should have a little bit more of a comic book feel to it. And so with that said, I still want to give it some of that gooiness that I'm getting there on the centerfold. Now keep in mind that this particular victim got shot with the ray gun, so while he is blasted apart here and we see a lot of red and a lot of blood, most of that is going to get covered up with a burn itself. So I'm going to reposition this just a moment and zoom in on it so that we can get started, and I'm just going to show you what happens to this when we apply the little red wash that I had there. So there's your good look at the victim as he sits right now. I have my little mixture here, and in case you haven't been watching the centerfold videos there, I have just a mixture, a little concoction if you will, of, let's see here, let me zoom out so you can see that. There we go. Tamiya Clear Red, this is X27. I've added to that just a touch of the X26 Orange, and then a touch of the X25 Green, just for the extra gooiness, bloodiness of it. Pure red and even a brownish red or an orangey red doesn't work so well. Throwing that green in there is gives it that kind of blood appearance. You could also use blue in there. I have an X23 clear blue. All of these are the clear acrylic lines from Tamiya. As far as the color numbers go, I'm assuming that's still the same. Those bottles there are several years old. All right, so here's what we have. I'm going to pick a nice little flat brush here, and I've got my little concoction here. And let's zoom in again here so we can see how this looks when we apply it. All right, so here's our hapless little victim here. Let's see what happens when we start throwing this color in here. I don't think there's going to be as dramatic an effect on this one because there's already so much red in here, but man, it really, even so, just makes this thing come alive. And as I said, this was the whole thing. Remember, if you saw the earlier videos, this was all kind of a beige color in here, and so that's how it starts out life. And then you start throwing this on there, and it really gives it that nasty, gooey look. The beige is the trick, though. I see so many people that try to paint this pink or something ahead of time and then try to put blood on it, and that just doesn't work. You need those highlights of that beige. And I've even tried it the other way around, painting from dark to light, and that to me doesn't work quite as well as this does. I mean, this, when you just wash this stuff on there, I mean, look at that. That is just disgusting. I haven't seen too much real life surgery. I've seen a little bit, and that's kind of what it looks like. It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's coming together there. I'm going to throw in some blues in here as well. But like I said, a lot of this stuff is going to get covered up with a singe, you know, a charcoal kind of a color that's going to come all along this edge. So a lot of that's going to get covered up, maybe even some of it down here. But it's just these little details that we add to the pieces that really make them stand out. So this is not really a how-to video. I don't do that sort of stuff. I'm happy to share knowledge. So this piece will be coming up at the upcoming Wonderfest show. If you'd like to stop by and take a look, if you're going to be in Louisville, it's coming up at the end of May. And if you'd like to come by and have a look, just give us a shout. We'll be glad for you to come by. And just let us know, hey, saw you on YouTube. You sound like a total geek, which I am. And we loved it. And so you wanted to come by and check it out. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. We'd love to see you. Love to talk with you about it. And let you take one of these bad boys home for yourself. So I'm just going to keep sloshing away here at this and just putting this on. Now I am being very careful not to get it on his skin. Notice as I let me slide this forward just a little bit. As I'm working on his head up here, I'm being very careful not to get this on his skin. Now if I get a little bit of splatter on there, hey, that's okay. That kind of adds to the effect. But I'm really being careful not to get it out onto his flesh too much. A little bit is okay. But it does have a really high stain factor. You get this stuff on there, it's not coming off. And it dries extremely fast. So the really nice thing about that is that I have to do multiple coats of this. So it's great because I can slosh this on there, and inside of about 30 minutes I can go ahead and start sloshing on another coat. Sometimes even less, depending on the effect that you're after. And it's really cool. So there it is, nice and gooey, the way I like it. So there it is. We'll see you in the next video.